Cody Jinks. He went from working freight docks in the Texas heat to becoming one of the most respected voices in country music. But Cody Jinks didn't take the usual path to get there.
I wasn't on a tour bus till I was 37 years old. I'd been on the road for 10 years full-time in vans, an old RV.
Before the tour bus and the diehard fan base, there was a metal band, a move to LA, and years spent grinding it out on the road in a van, chasing a sound that hadn't found its place yet.
No, I'm not going crazy.
This is the real story behind a man that's become the voice of the outsiders, told from Cody himself.
From the unlikely spark that led to Loud and Heavy to building his career outside of the Nashville machine, this is how Cody Jinks built something raw, real, and impossible to ignore.
This is the Cody Jinks story, a life built on music.
If there would have been a part ever where I stopped, that would have been it.
With making these documentaries, I'm in my office for long periods of time editing, and with any space you want it to feel inviting, but with the help of Range Leather, they just recently upgraded my desk setup, and I want to show you guys.
This is the Range Leather desk pad, and it's honestly become one of my favorite parts of my office. It's handcrafted in Laramie, Wyoming, and just like the artists we cover here on the western side, it only gets better with age.
They also make the Washburn wallet, which holds way more than what you'd expect.
It slides clean into your front or back pocket, just solid design that lasts forever.
They also have a ton of hats too, and right now I'm wearing the Ryan Blaney number 12 hat, who happens to be my favorite driver. But they have a ton of hats where your custom logo for your business or also your band, or if you're a musician, getting your logo out there. So they do everything custom made with 100% real leather.
And guys, I even have Apple Watch bands too, which is pretty sweet and rugged to go anywhere.
So if you're looking to upgrade your workspace or just want to support a brand who still does things the right way, definitely check out Range Leather.
I'll link their website in the description below, but let's get back to the video. Before the music, before the sold out shows and the outlaw country legacy, Cody Jinks was just a quiet kid at home growing up in suburban Texas. But behind that quiet was tension. His dad was a disciplinarian, old school and stern, the kind of man who ruled the house with authority. Cody didn't talk much at home, but in school, it was a different story.
It was a normal family dynamic. It was an old school family dynamic. Dad was the head of the house. Dad was tough. Dad worked all the time. Dad was in a bad mood. It's the wonder years. But I was quiet at home quite a bit, which caused me to act out a lot at school.
Jinks, get out of La La Land. It's a phrase that he heard more than once in school.
Because I was usually, talking with a buddy about something or music. Eventually it became music.
Still, he wasn't lost. He was athletic, into sports, and spent time around horses thanks to a friend with land. But even early on, life wasn't just about fun. In high school, Cody started working, freight docks, packing boxes in the heat or the cold. If he wasn't at a football game, he was probably on the clock. That blue-collar grind wasn't a phase, it was a necessity.
Usually dock work, driving forklifts and packing boxes, unpacking boxes.
His family lived what he calls lower middle class, and when an unexpected financial hit came at 18, his parents moved to East Texas. Cody didn't. He stayed behind, on his own. No backup plan, just grit. He picked up the toughest job he ever had, running a steel shearing machine.
It was basically a massive pair of scissors used to cut metal. It was dangerous, grueling work, but it left an impression.
Where these forklifts would drop these onto these giant rollers, and we would get these great big magnets and have to pull these things to this machine where it was a giant pair of scissors.
Yeah.
And we would cut that steel, man. We would shear the steel, and that was the toughest work I have ever done.
School had always just been a social pit stop for him. B's and C's, nothing fancy. College didn't end up being his long-term plan. But music was already a lifeline. He'd been listening obsessively since he was 3. His dad was the one that showed him a few chords on the guitar, and he loved country, but also Percy Sledge, Lynyrd Skynyrd, and Pink Floyd. His mom, rock and roll to the core. She introduced him to Elton John, and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road hit him like scripture.
Just diehard Elton John fan.
Zeppelin too. Then came Metallica, Pantera, punk, thrash. He was going to small shows in high school, headbanging in dark clubs, while his classmates were dreaming about dorm rooms.
But here's what made him different. He didn't choose between country or metal, he lived both.
Sure, Cody might have been in his metal phase in high school, but he'd listen to Honky Tonk 1 minute, then turn around and blast something loud enough to rattle the windows. That strange duality, rough edge country soul meets raw, unapologetic metal, wasn't a gimmick. It was him, always had been. So when people talk about Cody Jinks now, they see the artist, the outlaw, the voice of the people that never quite fit in. But that voice, it was shaped in silence, in sweat, in steel and freight docks, and nights alone with headphones on. After high school, Cody didn't slow down. He shifted into overdrive, pouring every ounce of spare energy into the band he started junior year of high school.
They called it unchecked aggression. It was loud, unapologetically intense, just like the name.
By '98, the band was official. For the next 5 years, Cody lived a double life. Full-time worker by day, metal frontman by night. They weren't just dabbling, they were grinding, practicing constantly, playing 50 to 75 shows a year, mostly around Dallas-Fort Worth. Back then, the scene was thriving, Pantera was king, and there was a real hunger for heavy music in Texas. Cody took the stage like a man possessed, full throttle, no holding back. That fire still burns in his live shows today.
When you play a show, as unchecked aggression, like during that time, like what was the stage presence like? How did that differ from playing country rock music?
Balls out, man. I mean, just hit the gas and don't let off until you're done with the last song on the set list. I'm still jumping around on stage. If you come see us now, it's a rock and roll show, dude. We're all over the place.
But even with the momentum they built, something shifted. Around 2003, feeling like they'd hit a ceiling in Texas, the band made a bold move. They packed up and headed west to Los Angeles. Unfortunately, it didn't go as planned. Right before the move, their drummer bailed. And if there's one place you don't want to be hunting for a new drummer, Cody said, it's LA.
Our drummer quit right before we went out, and me and the bass player and the guitar player still went. And LA is the worst place in the world to try to go find a drummer. The worst place to go try to find a drummer is in LA.
Too many bands, not enough local players, and no money to offer.
The dream started to unravel quick.
Cody drank a lot during this time. He was in his early 20s, broke, and surviving on ramen and Pat's Blue Ribbon. Some nights, if he was lucky, he could afford a sandwich. LA was a culture shock for sure. He said we weren't making any money, he recalled. Paying your dues is paying your dues. It was sink or swim, and the band sank.
The band that I thought that I was going to spend my entire career with dissolved after 7 years, and I drove home from LA on my 23rd birthday, and really without a place to live. I just drove back. I was like, screw this.
He crashed on a buddy's couch for a week, hungover, a little lost, and totally unsure of what came next. Before he left LA, he'd used the only line of credit he could to get an engagement ring. He was broke, but he was betting on love.
Wife in the next room was my girlfriend at the time. I knew I needed to come back from LA and get that locked down.
Cody got a job waiting tables at a place called Bennigan's, basically your average bar and grill. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid what little it could. Somewhere in the middle of it all, country music showed up.
Not because he had some grand plan to write country songs, he really wasn't even trying to. That's just what came out.
I sold my amplifier and got an acoustic guitar. I didn't even mean to start writing country songs. I was just like, started writing country. That's what was coming out at the time. And I didn't know why. I wasn't trying to. I didn't even know at the time if I could sing country. I've been screaming for the last 7 years.
His buddy of his worked at Bennigan's and part-time at the White Elephant Saloon, a legendary bar in Fort Worth. That friend got Cody a job there too. At first, it was just working the door while still grinding full-time at Bennigan's, trying to get caught up on bills. Eventually, the folks at the Elephant asked if Cody could bartend. Cody never wanted to say no to a challenge, jumped behind the bar, and made it work. For a few years, this was his life, working nights at the Elephant, scraping by, but slowly planting roots in the Fort Worth music scene. That's when he met Brad Hines, who ran a Tuesday night songwriter circle. You'd get up, play 3 songs, and see what you were made of.
Every Tuesday night, you'd come and play 3 songs. People would come in and sign up for it, and they'd get to try their songs out in front of people, usually their family. or whomever, but it was really cool.
It was the first time Cody played country music in front of people. Around that same time, guys like Tim Hodgkin and Jim Richards, who ran the Longhorn Saloon, gave Cody spots on stage. Slowly, the grind began to pay off.
And I started playing acoustic gigs at all of them and started playing full band gigs at all of them. So I was working at the Elephant, but I was playing at all the bars down there, and then I was actually starting to play region.
He was playing more, getting better. He was finding his voice.
But just when things started to click, life threw another curveball.
In early 2007, the Elephant had a rough night. A manager got drunk during a shift, got a DUI, and just like that, everyone working that shift got fired.
There was a manager that got drunk on my shift and got a DWI. So I got fired. The other bartenders I was on got fired, and the manager got fired. So it's just bam, you know, what are you gonna do? And that was the only job I've ever been fired from, too.
Nowhere to work, bills still piling up. But by then, he was already playing 100 shows a year. So he looked around and said, well, it's make it or break it time. He was approaching his mid to late 20s. No fallback plan, just a guitar, some songs, and a heck of a lot of grit.
Josh Thompson, our longtime bass player, producer, you know, he's been with me since then. And it was hit the road time, and we did. For 13 years, we spent 9 or 10 months out of the year on the road straight.
From that point forward, they hit the road, and they didn't stop.
For 9 or 10 months out of the year, it was just them in the van, show after show after show.
Dive bars, long drives, little pay. It wasn't glamorous, it was survival. They said for 10 years, nobody knew who we were. We did it the old school way, just packed up and went. Cody never had the desire for huge fame or big chart toppers. Coming from metal, he didn't care about the mainstream. He wanted to build something real, authentic, the kind of thing that lasts. Most nights, it was $100 and a $45 bar tab. They'd burned through that before the encore. And then, years later, when the booze finally became free, they had already quit drinking. That's just how it went.
It's funny because back then, you don't have any money and the bar doesn't give you a band tab. So, you know, you make $100 and then you got a $45 bar tab at the end of the night. It's like, man, sure could have used a few free drinks. And then, you know, by the time you're my age and you quit drinking, they're just like, man, how much booze do you want? And we're like, we quit drinking.
During this time, Cody released 2 albums, Collector's Item and Cast No Stones. You won't find them on Spotify. They're relics, raw cuts of a young artist still trying to figure it out.
It's a long day, still headed the wrong way.
I didn't know what I was doing back then, and it was pretty slick Rick, Nashville type of production. We did it all here in Texas. I hadn't found my voice at that time. I was singing like I thought I should sing, like a country singer. You know, that's why Collector's Item and the Cast No Stones album are no longer in print. It wasn't my sound, it wasn't our sound, it was me singing like I thought I should be singing. Some of the songs I still love, some of the songs I still sing.
Songs like Cast No Stones would find new life later on.
I cast no stones, what gives you the right?
He had to make those records to learn what not to do, to grow, even though I think they still sound pretty good.
They played anywhere that would take them, from honky-tonks to empty bars in Indiana. One night they rolled into a place with no crowd, not a single soul, just a bartender, a waitress, a cook, and the manager.
I can't even remember what town in Indiana. It was a very, very small town. So we get like 2/3 of the way through the evening, and not one person, not one single guest has walked in the door, not even strolling down the street and walked in. And we're up there playing. These people aren't making any money. We're playing for nobody. And the manager walks up, and we were gonna make $300. There's 4 of us. We're in friggin' Indiana, dude. We live in Texas. We're making $300. And the manager walks up and goes, hey guys, if y'all wanna just stop now, we'll go ahead and pay you $200.
Yeah.
And I looked at the guys and I was like, yeah, we really need that extra 100. We're just gonna have to keep playing.
And it worked. The manager came back and gave them the full $300. It wasn't glamorous, but it kept the lights on, because the next town over might have had 200 people waiting to sing along.
That's one of the ones I look back and laugh about. And we were laughing about it really the next day. I mean, I think we got out of there early, went to another bar. I think we crossed back into the state of Illinois and found a bar over there and laughed about it that night.
By 2010, Cody found something. Less Wise was his first official record, and it was just the beginning.
The real beginning. He was 30. He had just had his first kid. And suddenly, the stakes were real.
I was really doubling down, man. That would have been the part. If there would have been a part ever where I stopped, that would have been it. That would have been the time I think most people would have gone, you know what? I'm not any more talented or awesome than anybody else. I'm just the guy that didn't stop. I didn't have a plan B. I was doubling down. My wife was doubling down on me. We had a baby, and I knew we were about to go in a lot more debt because I was paying for this record, paying for the band to be on the road, not making any money. But we knew it was tough times, and it was about to get a little leaner.
Back in the early 2010s, Cody described that they were pretty broke, but full of heart. But off that album, Hippies and Cowboys hit so hard for the fans, because it was them.
Never asked for anyone to say they like my sound. I've never been a part.
Cody says, when I wrote that song, I didn't fit in anywhere musically. After metal, I didn't belong with anybody. I was on an island, but people connected with that. The band could play anywhere, and it builds truth, and that's what people saw. Less Wise also gave us great songs like Somewhere in the Middle, a track really that encompasses Cody's journey as a whole, and really how it's about living life in that gray area, doing the best you can with what you've got, and finding a sense of peace in the in-between.
Forklifts on the 3 o'clock a.m. shift in the wintertime, man, it got cold.
Another song drawn from personal experience is 65 Days in LA, where Cody just really gives you an outline of his whole journey to finding himself out there and coming back to Texas.
65 days in LA is enough for me.
After Less Wise in 2010, he put out 30 in 2012, a record he says is one of his favorites from a writing standpoint. It's again packed with great storytelling, rich in narrative and character, a hallmark of his style. And he never really came off the road.
With this album, I think Cody is just so easy to listen to, and that's what makes his audience so diverse in the first place. It's just 10 good country music.
We all get by the grace of God. We all get by. Yeah, we do.
In 2013, he released the Black Sheep EP, which included Fast Hand, a song that is still a fan favorite, and just gives you that pure Western movie vibe.
Be a bad man, I just had a fast hand.
Then came Adobe Sessions in 2015.
Thunder, heavy rain, a thin line between joy and pain. It's a long, strange.
Recorded at the Sonic Ranch in Texas with producer and band member Josh Thompson. It was a turning point. Cody said, that's where I felt like I was starting to take it to a new level. For many fans, Adobe Sessions would remain their favorite Cody Jinks record. Take Loud and Heavy, for example. That song started out as a moment between Cody and his young son on a rainy day. Just the two of them driving around in the rain looking at tractors. On the way there, his son kept repeating a phrase about the weather. Loud thunder, heavy rain. Loud thunder, heavy rain. That little interaction sparked the entire song. Cody recorded the phrase on his phone, and by the time they finally got home, he picked up his guitar and finished the whole song.
Loud thunder, heavy rain, a thin line between joy and pain. It's a long, strange.
What started as a father-son memory became one of the most powerful songs of his career.
Cast No Stones had been released before, but this version on the Adobe Sessions is the one that stuck. The lyrics are simple and unapologetic, a man refusing to judge or be judged.
I cast no stones. What gives you the right?
It's not angry or bitter, just steady and true. That quiet confidence or grounded mindset became an anthem for a lot of people who had had enough of being told how to live. And then there's Mama Song, written as a tribute to his mother. Mama Song is one of Cody Jinks' most personal tracks, a raw letter of sorts to his mom where he owns up to the mistakes he's made and the life he chose chasing music. It's honest, and he gives his mom gratitude with helping him keep his truck after LA. And lastly, another standout from the Adobe Sessions is none other than David.
She was speeding through town, and I bumped the Wailers to try to slow him down.
The protagonist, a former veteran, got a job at the local police station where he ended up chasing his old friend David, who got caught up in a bad situation. The vivid imagery in the song paints a picture of life's unexpected twists, the what-ifs, and the roads we end up on. But the truth is, it's a work of fiction written from the outside looking in. It's more of an exercise in storytelling.
When I found his truck in the floodplain upside down, there was a hell of
In 2016, he dropped I'm Not the Devil.
It debuted number 4 on the Billboard Country chart and marked a major step forward for Cody, not just musically, but in reach. For over a decade, Cody had been doing everything the hard way, building a loyal fan base with no radio support, no major label machine, just word of mouth, and a brutal tour schedule.
And right around then, it finally paid off.
Cody says, that was around when we got our first tour bus.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because I was a late bloomer. I've always been a late bloomer. I wasn't on a tour bus till I was 37 years old. You know, I'd been on the road for 10 years full time in vans and an old RV.
But after I'm Not the Devil, it was clear he wasn't surviving, he was winning. For the title track, I'm Not the Devil, it wrestles with guilt, redemption, and the feeling of being misunderstood. Not just by others, but by yourself. There's a weariness in his voice, like a man trying to convince himself just as much as the listener.
I'm not the devil you think that I am.
That honesty hit home for a lot of people. And then there's no words. It's a love song, and it's just Cody saying that there's no words to say how much I need you, and the appreciation he has towards his wife, saying that you've been there through all the lows and you're still here.
In no words, never say how much I need you.
And I'm sure we can all think of that someone in our lives too.
And then came Lifers in 2018 and dropped this bomb of a song.
I've been drinking to remember and drinking to forget.
I would love to see the song played live, and it would just simply rock. Cody kept going. The Wanting and After the Fire both dropped in 2019, back-to-back albums that expanded his sound without losing the grit. Ain't a Train was probably the biggest hit from those albums with some serious fiddle.
Ain't a train.
Then COVID hit, and for the first time in years, the brakes were on. Cody said, looking back, the body of work we put out in 13 years, it's a lot. We cranked out records at a ridiculous pace. And it's funny, years later the Adobe Sessions and a lot of his previous albums had a whole second life thanks to social media. Songs like Loud and Heavy, which originally dropped back in 2015, suddenly started blowing up on TikTok and other social media.
It's now full-time at home too, because we have content. Everything's about content now. You need to have the content to go click on this, so they'll go click on your music. And I've learned to understand that's how the business has changed. So yeah, it's super important. Well, I mean, there's a reason musicians have whole teams of people. That is absolutely their job, is social media.
But he'll be the first to tell you, he wouldn't even have Facebook or Instagram if he didn't play music. But now, it's part of the job. That connection with fans, online or in person, is what's kept this whole thing alive. Still, he didn't stop. In 2021, he released Mercy, and then in early 2024, Changed the Game, a record that saw him stepping further into his own lane while continuing to reflect on everything he's learned along the way.
I know you've been pretty public about kind of just steering away from alcohol. How do you think just cutting that out has influenced your music, and maybe like how has your life changed since then, and have you like gained any like new perspectives?
I was really drunk for a very long time, and I don't remember large chunks of my career. And obviously, once you've been sober as long as I am sober now, have been now, you realize how far gone you were. Like, man, it happened, it was what it is, but it's been just good because it's made me more present everywhere. Obviously, it's better for my family for sure. Big family, and family lives under this roof. It's been better for my business. I'm way more likely to go, you handle it. I'm sick of dealing with this crap. I'm really hands-on, man. A workaholic, I guess, if you wanted to call it that. It's alcoholic thing doesn't work out very well. So, like I said, no days off, but staying busy is, the idle hands thing for a creative person is really, that saying is true.
For a guy who has been beaten down and caught back up, and who spent years sweating it out in vans and smoky bars, the fact is that Cody Jinks is still here, still independent, and still thriving. That's the story. Just a loyal fan base built over time, a relentless work ethic, and the world had no choice but to take notice of him. And maybe that's why this music means what it does. It wasn't polished for algorithms, it was lived in, beat up and true. From Less Wise to his upcoming new album release, Cody Jinks has stayed rooted in the same thing that got him here in the first place. A good song, played loud, with nothing to prove. With Cody Jinks and the Tone Deaf Hippies burning down the house every night.
Starting the Hippies and Cowboys tour officially at the end of May. Brand new stage production, brand new everything, lights, show, brand new set list.
Awesome.
So, we're going to start riding singles right into the beginning of the tour for the In My Blood record. In My Blood record comes out at the end of July. But yeah, we got a bunch going on.
During this part of the video, I like to give shout outs for artists that deserve to be heard. And today we have Cody Gentry.
I'm high as the pines on the ridge line in Georgia. I'm writing the words to a song you won't hear. I'm damned if I do like a dam to the water. You wanna run and I'm holding you here. Hard to breathe from all the things I'd planned to be after the last cruise of the Coral Sea.
He just released a new album not too long ago, and he has tons of killer songs off of that record. Check it out. That's all I have for today. I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care.